Carl, it's gone cold, and all of a sudden my nose is just like, is real irritated. I'm just like, the cold weather is coming.
It's rough because we're both English, so people are going to be seeing, man, these guys look paler than usual. Are they okay? It's like, just all you need to think is like, over in the UK when it gets cold, everyone turns into Oliver Twist.
Oh God, no!
Right.
Please, can I afford some heating today?
Please, you got to go on to like morning game. Remember that where like morning breakfast TV was like the prize that you could win on one episode was heating for a month. And it's like, all right, Black Mirror.
Jesus Christ!
We'll pay your energy bills. Got £1,000 as well. So this energy bill's I think for 4 months if it stops on that.
Nice.
What dystopian nightmare are we living in? Oh, just post Brexit Britain, it's fine.
Win your heating paid for on like national TV. Fucking fantastic.
Oh dear, but welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends where we take things existential immediately. Of course, on Wiki Weekends, we go through a wiki page of our finding and we just, keep going until we find something fun to talk about. But today, Carl, maybe fun is not the right word because we are talking about Attack on Titan and man, second one, this shows like you ain't having fun.
Yeah, first episode is the main character's mum getting eaten by a monster.
So spoilers for Attack on Titan, all of it.
The worst bit is as well, you can't put any clips of the theme song, which is like whips ass, because it's a Japanese band doing it, and there's no fucking way that's flying on YouTube.
Obviously, a lot of animes I'm aware this is the case for, but the opening themes for Attack on Titan slap.
It does, yeah, and people have to take a word for it because we can't put a clip in.
I'm gonna put like 1 second in.
It will get caught. I tried to do it once as a joke.
Oh really? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Maybe not then.
There's a video where I tried to do a dumb edit when I put the Attack on Titan theme song in for 1 second and it got copyright struck.
We're talking about Attack on Titan. It's Japanese production. We're talking about the anime specifically because I've watched the anime, I haven't read the manga. But yeah, I'm gonna pronounce things wrong sometimes. Get over it. It's fine. It's okay. I'm English, I'm not Japanese, okay?
Well, here's the thing, it's like you're calling them Titans, or soon to be calling them Aotons.
Oh god, is it one of those? Right, okay.
But nothing will ever beat Berserk, where weirdo weaves were like, it's not guts, it's Gutsu. Or Gatsu. And then like, before he died, the writer came out and went, no, it's fucking guts, shut up. Because the weaves would always correct people, no, it's Gatsu. It's like, no, the guy who wrote it's like, no, it's fucking guts.
Like, yes, if it's a literal translation, it might be that, but the English translated name is Guts.
It's also the name that the person who wrote it decided that he should have, because it's way cooler.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do an episode on Berserk one day. Speaking of, like, just depressing from second one.
Speaking of things I need to watch.
No, you don't need to watch it, you need to read it, because, like, almost every adaptation of, like, Berserk has been god-awful.
Oh, yeah, that's one of those, isn't it, where there's multiple versions, and it's like, which one should I watch? None of them.
Every single one is bad.
Yeah, God.
I think maybe the original cartoon might have been decent, but it's not finished. They tried the best with what they had, but it's like, just read the manga.
I guess the manga's not finished, right?
Well, it's in the process of doing it, yeah, but like Miura, his artwork was so good, it was almost impossible to replicate with any degree of fidelity, or at least the level of fidelity we used to reading it.
Yeah, and that's not me, trying to stake a dig. I'm aware that they were apparently an excellent mangaka, and like I would like to read it at some point, but it's hard to sell me on things that I realise are going to be depressing as hell. My mate sold me on Attack on Titan by being like, look how cool Titans are.
It's a mecha anime, but the mecha are meant to meet.
That's true. It's the meat mecha. It's Attack on Titan.
Meat mechas.
Oh man, that should be the new genre, shouldn't it? It's like there's mecha anime and then there's just meat mecha.
Yeah, like the appeal for Berserk is just the quality of the writing and the artwork, which is like not really captured all that well in any of the other adaptations. Similar to like that Junji Ito show that came out where just they seemingly ran out of money halfway through production. It's like Junji Ito's work. The appeal is the detail and how fucking horrific it is.
Speaking, Carl, of things that just went through a wild production. Attack on Titan, or Shingeki no Kyojin, or the literal translation, Advancing Giants, which maybe should have been what it's called, is an anime series based on the manga of the same name by Hajime Isayama. It was produced by Wit Studio and Production IG for the first 3 seasons, and then by Mappa for the 4th season.
Its production is so annoying because I still remember the story you told of. And one of the things that put me off watching it was it had like 3 separate releases that were supposedly the final season. Tell that story.
What happened, many people who watched the anime are familiar with how it released during the final season, but I was not really aware of like how much was left of the story or whatever, and I'd saved up the final season, part 2. I'd watched the final season, part 1 already, and I'd saved up a bunch of episodes, and there was about 7-8 episodes left of part 2, and the final episode of part 2 was airing on whatever date, and I was in Sheffield, super excited, like, man, tonight gonna go home and we're gonna watch the final part of Attack on Titan, because part 2 of the final season is ending. And as far as I was concerned, that seemed like a reasonable thing of it being split into 2 parts.
Yeah, and I just remember you messaging like the group chat of like, man, there's a lot to cover in these last episodes.
There was a lot to cover.
You getting more and more worried of like, man, I think they're gonna finish it soon, right?
It's like
I could see the cope happening in real time in the group chat. I was like, you don't know.
No one really 100% knew. Obviously, people who were familiar with like how the story of the manga went were probably sitting there going, there's no way they can finish any of this within that, second part. But as someone who was trying to avoid spoilers completely, I was unaware and was like, I guess they're just going to have to like kind of rush the ending with the last 8 episodes or whatever it was. And no, they didn't, because as the final episode of the final season part 2 aired, they announced the final season part 3, part 1 and 2. And it's like, I'm just bringing myself down. Just the rage that I feel when I think of how bad some of that looks.
So I get it, it's really difficult to do. But if you can't do it, don't do it. It's not like we mentioned the Guts like adaptations, that class, it's so infamous where they couldn't animate Guts walking, so you see them literally pick his 3D model up and bounce it up and down to replicate walking. It's like, you could, if I hired someone who couldn't animate something and they couldn't animate the main character's walk cycle, I would seriously reconsider letting them do the entire thing.
I'm not overly familiar with a lot of the production stories behind this, but I believe essentially Mappa went on a massive wave of just underbidding a bunch of other studios and promising work on a time frame that was just untenable.
Yeah.
So I believe that's why we ended up with 4 different parts of the final season, and there's been like other animes that have been affected poorly by the same production like problems from Mappa, and yeah, just ultimately in hindsight they should have probably stayed with Wit Studio, because Wit were taking a long time to animate it and doing a very good job of animating it, but then Mappa come in and like, we can do it faster and cheaper, and then took like 5 years to do it anyway. It's like
we talked about it with like One Punch Man, right? Where One Punch Man, the whole appeal of the original manga is that they took this crappy like pencil art done for a webcomic and got one of the sickest like illustrators in the business to make it look rad. And the anime was like kind of meta in the sense that we're going to continue that trend of animating One Punch with all the finesse of an entire fight scene of another manga. And they got one of the best fucking studios in the business to do it, Madhouse. But Madhouse took a long time to make it because they're fucking good at what they do.
Yeah.
And they got someone else in to do it cheaper. It's like, but I was only watching it because the animation was good. Why would you get rid of people who did the good animation?
And obviously with Attack on Titan, it's one of those where the story is full of different conspiracy theories and all this jazz, and you don't really 100% know what's going on from start to end, and even when you've watched the final ending, there's debate as to whether you know what's going on or not still, but just there was a lot already tied into the story and all these different, elements of it that you were heavily invested by the time the final season was coming around. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's now going to release in a really awkward pattern and look very inconsistent, is what I'll say. Is there are still times when it looks good. Just times when it looks like this.
I think the most recent one people were making fun of is the show Blue Lock. Have you watched Blue Lock?
I have seen clips of Blue Lock, the new season, whatever, season 2 or 3 or whatever it is, and they're like...
The balls. It's a football anime, and they don't animate people kicking the ball.
Nice assistant.
At least like the art looks good.
The art looks good, and I have seen there is some kind of explanation of they're putting all of the time and production budget into a certain part of this arc, and
yeah,
that's not really a great excuse for the rest to look that bad.
It's just that thing of, I imagine that of like the Attack on Titan fight of like, just again when they're on like the omnidirectional gear, just pick up and go woo!
Just Levi Ackerman against the Beast Titan is just like
Can you imagine if like Mappa animated the Beast Titan Levi fight?
Oh no.
How bad would that have been?
The thing is, they do a moment in the final season where he just annihilates the Beast Titan out of nowhere, and as far as I'm aware, that must have been Mappa. So, and it still looked good. That's the thing is, it's not that it looks trash all of the time, it's that it looks trash sometimes, and the release schedule was awful. I've already, span a bit of a web about my experience with Attack on Titan. What's your experience with the show?
I just got like 2 seasons in, and then it's like, well, the next season out for 3 years, and then when I found out, okay, I'll wait for it to be finished, and then I just heard about all the nonsense with you, and then like a couple of months ago, I thought, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna get Crunchyroll. So I was watching like My Hero Academia, so I was like, well, I'll just binge watch Attack on Titan in the process, and I think I got to like, I'm like 3 episodes away from the ending, and I just started hating Eren Yeager so much. I don't care how his story ends, because he's just that bad a character. He's that annoying a character. I don't care how his story ends.
And I will
also,
say...
they killed off my favourite character.
Yeah,
and
fair.
as soon as my favourite character died, I'm like, well, I don't care anymore, because there's literally nobody left that I want to survive.
Fair critique. I will say that, by the final season, the point of the story is that Eren is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone that actually likes Eren Yeager by the end of it, and presumably there'll be people in the comments defending Eren, but ultimately...
Genocide doer Yeager.
There'll be people, Carl. You know that some people will be defending it.
It's the bit where they got to where they just started shooting fucking children.
Oh, yeah.
They just start shooting kids. It's like, this is what we have to do. This is war. And it's like, okay, but stop shooting children.
Because there is that point where you go, okay, Eren's going down quite an extreme route here, but I get it. The Titans keep eating all of his friends and family. But you kind of go, he's taking it a bit far, and then all of a sudden... They don't really leave anything left to an argument or imagination. It's just, no, Eren's the bad guy. You get to a point where even all of Eren's friends and family are like, no, Eren needs to be stopped, and ultimately it's one of those things where Eren even knows that Eren has to be the bad guy, and he's under no illusions himself that what he's doing is good. He just feels like he has to be the necessary evil.
It's what cracks me up most about when people defend him. It's like even he knows his actions are indefensible.
Yes, very much. And there's a lot that goes on, including, weird time travel of Eren talking to Eren and shit. And it very much puts Eren under the control of other Eren, who is like, I'm sorry, you need to be a dickhead, and that's the way it is.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't wait for people to be in the comments going, no, actually, Eren's totally right.
It's the thing of, I understand, what they're going for when they write of, as well, the story fucking just goes off the rails. The reveal of where the Titans come from was one of the moments where I don't think my eyes could roll further into the back of my head that had fallen out. Of how convoluted and stupid the plan is. I get what you're trying to say. It's not subtle, what you're trying to say here, but fucking hell.
Don't you worry, Carl. The final episode, as I say, with all the extra time travel-y-esque shit, it gets way more convoluted and doesn't answer half of the questions it sets up. Ultimately, I think it's a really cool show that is Meat Mecha done well for 3+ seasons, and then I think it landed in an okay state by the end of it. I still like Attack on Titan, and generally it's been one of my favourite animes for the past 10 years that they've been putting it out. But it is one of those of that last season goes up and down. It's a bit of a roller coaster.
It's like I said, every character turns into an arsehole, and they ended up killing all my favourite characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if we're in full spoiler mode, should I say what those characters are?
Yeah, go for it. List your favourites.
So obviously the first one is Sasha, the potato girl. And then she just gets shot by as well. Those child soldiers piss me off. I get the point of that child soldier of we need to stop all of them. It's just fucking listen though. Just that little kid pissed me off. Listen.
Yeah, the Marley arc, I understand why
it's infuriating, right? Where no one listens.
Yeah, and I understand why they have to set up the other team and get you to know all of these Titans and the Titans in training and stuff, but man, they don't do a good job in my eyes of really making you like any of them. I think...
No, as I said, that little girl who ends up going around their
Gabby,
area
yeah,
and just immediately betrays everyone's second one she encounters. It's am I supposed to like this character?
And
all they do is scream about, I'm going to betray everyone's second one and kill you all.
Yeah, I don't know when it comes to Gabby and the Marlians, who you are and aren't meant to like, really, and ultimately that show just becomes a show where, as you say, you kind of don't really like anyone that's left alive.
Because all the ones that are worth saving all die, because they do superheroic last stands. As I said, my other favourite character is Hanji.
Yeah.
I love her character. I guess technically is there a they, because it's never been confirmed one way or the other. Is that one of those just things that the original mangaka has never confirmed?
I always thought of them as more female presenting, but yeah, I didn't realise that it was just an ambiguous thing. Maybe the reason I read it that way is because Romy Park, the Japanese voice actor for Hanji, is a female, so maybe it's just one of those of the association via voice, but
by that logic, Goku should be a girl, right? Because his voice actress is an 85-year-old lady.
Exactly. The same with Luffy. Luffy is just a Japanese grandma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although many anime characters are just Japanese grandmas. Did you hear that story? Goku's voice actress was on a train and some little kids were being little shits. They were doing the Attack on Titan take of being little shits. And she told them to cut that out in Goku's voice. Wait, are you Goku? And she started pretending to do a Kamehameha and they ran away.
I don't know whether you watched it with the sub or the dub.
I watch both. It depends. Like, am I watching it like on like my laptop before bed? In which case, then it's dubbed. If it's like I'm watching it on my TV, subbed.
I don't mind people watching dub or sub, but do you swap between?
Well, 'cause if I'm watching it on my laptop before bed, because I lie on my side and I'm watching it, so reading the subtitles is a bit awkward.
But
so I have the voices on, but when I'm watching it on my TV, when I'm sat with a cup of tea and it's like my nice big TV, I can have a... So that's the people are going to hate me for saying that. It's like, wait, you can...
I get too attached to the voices. I don't understand
they all
how
die.
you can flip-flop
That's the thing about
between.
it. Everyone fucking dies anyway, I don't care.
Oh, dear.
All the characters that I like die, so I stop giving a fuck.
I'm way more on the line of just, well, who are your favourite characters? Like, fuck it, it's the Ackermans. I'm just watching Levi and Mikasa just go all in on everything, and it's like, yeah, sure. I know it's the basic bitch answer of who's your favourite. It's like, well, it's the badass one that chops the Beast Titan apart. It's like, yeah.
It's still one of my favourite bits of that entire anime where like the Beast Titan is recalling like you might think you're that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to encounter someone who is that guy. Spoilers, you're not that guy. They're that guy. Do not fuck with them. And you see them like hold their hand up and it just turns into fucking like burger meat.
一人の兵士に気をつけろって？
はい、リヴァイ兵長は危険です。
こいつがリヴァイか。
That might be still to this day like my favourite moment in all of Attack on Titan, because it is that exceptional speech, and regardless of whether you watch it sub or dub, that speech just of like, we are all going to charge into death. Just 10 on 10, right?
It's like, why are we doing it? Because there's one guy in our army who's literally worth all of us. He's better than every single one of us combined. It's like, this one guy with one sword can take out more Titans than an entire army can.
Yeah.
なんだ？何も見えない。目をやられたのか。
We are putting all of our eggs in the Levi Ackerman basket right now. I need you all to die. Wait, what?
I do like as well the technology as well. So I love when they start talking about okay, so how do we defeat like these armored titans? Oh, we invented something called the fucking Thunder Spear.
The Thunder
They've got
Spears
the
are so
rocket launcher
cool.
tonfas.
The Thunder Spears are so goddamn cool.
It's the bit where they get the armored titan, they just shove him into his fucking eyeballs. It's like that's pretty good.
And I think that's where the show really sells itself, right? Is that, okay, you might like all of the weird back and forth between like the mysteries of what are the Titans and where did they come from and what are, you know, the special Titans, etc., etc.
I never found myself wondering that.
But if you don't like that side of things, you can just appreciate, oh, isn't it really cool when they Thunder Spear the Armor Titan? One of my favourite moments, just while I didn't necessarily like Eren in the final season, there is just the bit where they're underground with Reiner, and they're just like, Reiner, you know I could just become a Titan right now and fuck this all right up. And he's just sitting there underground with Reiner having this discussion of like, I'm gonna do it. And then just that excellent, just set piece where all the Titans are fighting each other, and I thought that was a really cool moment of just, well, I'm gonna break in and I'm gonna pretend that I've just been like this injured war veteran for I think like years, right? And that's
It's a couple of years, yeah, it was a time skip.
Yeah, that's the opening kind of part of the final season, is just, oh, Eren's just chilling out in Mali as like this injured war vet with like he's missing a leg or something, and you kind of just left to wonder what's going on. It's just all been to infiltrate until all of the governments come in and he can just try and grab like the Warhammer Titan or whatever they're called.
I do like the interesting bits, like how some of the Titans fight. Like, I always love when, like, Eren first meets, like, the female Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like, the first one that actually fights like a human and it cleans his fucking clock.
Yeah.
Because he just cracks him right on the jaw and is like, I never expected this.
Because
he doesn't know how to deal with a Titan that actually fights like a human.
That's the thing, is they've only ever encountered Titans up until this point that obviously they're aware of, like, the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan, but at this point they don't really know much about what the Titans are or what's going on with these special Titans. They just mostly know, get them in the nape to kill them, and that most of them kind of just, like, run around wildly and eat people. All of a sudden, Annie's like, no, Eren, you are going to find out today.
It's the part where Annie starts doing MMA shit. That's where it gets real bad. It's like, oh, Eren, you had no chance.
And obviously they show that Annie, as a Titan, does the takedown that Annie was showing off during training, and that's, like, the big hint at who could that Titan be and how are they
who
Annie?
the Titan who looks exactly like her could be.
Yeah, I wonder who the Titan that looks and fights like Annie could be. So
the one with blonde hair.
It is really cool thinking back to before you figure out what the Titans were, before you realise that it was the meat mecha that it is.
Yes.
Well, that looks like Annie, but Annie's a person. Like, what's going on? How is this possible? Like, how are they a Titan, but also not a Titan at the same time?
Yeah, I'll give some credit to, like, the final season when they start introducing... I don't like the Marley arc, but I do like where it's the equivalent of, like, just those people in the Amazon who've got no fucking clue what technology is encountering, like, guns and airships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fuck are these things?
I do enjoy that aspect, and I also enjoy the aspect of the kind of convergence in technology where you see that Marley has what we would consider just regular technology, but obviously a bit, like, further back in our time. But obviously then you've got the people that were stuck behind the walls where it's like, well, what do we need to figure out technology-wise? Oh, just things that will kill Titans and keep us safe.
Yeah.
So then you've got all the cool tech, like the ODM gear. I think that the ODM stuff was basically what sold me on Attack on Titan in the first place. Just
it was that and the jackets, right?
That's true. The jackets and the capes.
It's like, we need an excuse for our characters to be able to fly. Give them all Spider-Man shit.
Yeah, essentially it's just, okay, they're not doing it with their arms, they're attached at the hips, but essentially everyone's just Spider-Manning around with swords and killing giant things. It's like, yeah.
Also, as lame as it is if you think about the fact you got to reload your sword, the fact they reload swords is also cool.
It is, right?
A sword that needs ammo is, like, really inefficient, but reloading swords as a concept is pretty rad.
It's the rule of cool, isn't it? Okay, that sucks, and the fact that they run out of gas and blades all of the time is just very inefficient. But at the same time, it's cool as fuck when they just, like, drop one set of blades, then ping in another two, and they've got the swords ready again, nice and reloaded. And I do find it funny when you get moments where I think it might be Levi runs out of gear and is just, again, like, give it all to Levi. Just sacrifice everyone else. Levi is the main character.
Why do they never let him become a Titan? Build Titan-size ODM gear, and it's like, oh no.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is the strength of Levi and Mikasa is their ability to use ODM gear, so unless you've got Titan-sized ODM gear, you're kind of wasting them. And Levi just, as we saw with the Beast Titan clip, just doesn't really need to be a Titan to be able to take out any Titan.
Yeah, he takes out the biggest one. It's like the Beast Titan's always such a dick.
Oh, yes,
like,
yeah.
It's clever, like, their tactic is really clever, of just keep throwing fucking rocks from really far away, but as a tactic, that'd be so annoying, right?
It would be. I don't particularly like Zeke, but I don't particularly like anyone, really, that's introduced after the first, like, 3 episodes.
It's because, like, it's when they keep doing the classic thing of, they've just killed, like, 40 people. So, okay, now let's give you 3 episodes where they try and justify doing that. And it's like, I'm not gonna listen to you! Oh, the people behind the wall are just constantly having these giant 800-foot-tall monsters try and eat them. It's like, yeah, but you don't get it. We have to do this. Like, no, you don't! fuck off, leave them alone.
Yeah.
And again, when they go to Mali and start blowing stuff up, and it's like, okay, I don't like the way they go about it, but when the Mali's like, what did we ever do to them? It's like, what do you mean, what did you do to them?
I get the argument when it comes down to, look, this is the sins of our grandfathers or whatever. We are not the ones who committed those crimes. When the kids are like, well, what did we ever do? It's like, no, the kids get a rough time of it, and especially any people that the Malians basically treat as shit unless they can be Titans, right?
Yeah.
And I get it, from your perspective, you're 10 years old and a bunch of your friends and family are getting killed by these other people, but yeah, you kind of did, strike first and put them into an island of eternal suffering.
Yep.
So
I think the moment anyone goes to the island and sees the shit they've got to deal with every single day, it's like, yeah, are we the baddies?
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hands. Are we the baddies?
And that's where I think some of the more interesting concept comes in with the idea of Reiner especially just not really being able to psychologically cope with that, and just kind of almost has a personality break where he forgets that he's trying to destroy these people. He becomes friends with them, and he just ultimately doesn't really know what to do because he was a teenager being sent to war and then had to make friends with all of the people that he was sent to murder.
Yep. It's an interesting concept, which is they try moralizing stuff that really doesn't need to be moralized. You put these people on an island and then send flesh-eating monsters after them for 100 years straight.
Yeah.
It is to be expected that when they find out that you did it because you're annoyed at the things their ancestors did, they're probably going to start blowing some buildings up.
It's kind of just ultimately, especially by the final season, a story of everyone is in the wrong and maybe everyone should just stop murdering each other.
And, in that sense, Yeager's response of, fuck it, burn it all down. Because it's like, everyone's an arsehole, fuck it.
And
just burn it all down and start again.
Speaking of which, Carl, that leads us to the rumbling. Tell me how you found out about the rumbling, Carl.
Okay, so when I was thinking about rewatching Attack on Titan, I couldn't remember how far I got into the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, what I'll do is I'll watch random clips of fight scenes, and this moment I don't recognise a character or a moment, that's presumably where I was close to.
Mm-hmm.
When I was looking at clips, just this thing came up of the rumbling. And I was asking Lucas, what's the rumbling? That's the literal final thing that ever happens in the show. You've gone too far. And now I know what the rumbling is.
It's just when Carl sent me the message of, Lucas, what is the rumbling? I'm like,
Yeah.
Carl, how far have you got? What do you know? Oh, no.
And I know what the rumbling is, and you know what? In terms of apocalypses, it's certainly very fucking interesting.
It's
Possibly
very
one of the most interesting concepts for an apocalypse I've encountered in fiction in a while.
And I wonder here on the wiki if I can just move to the rumbling page so that I don't get the
The
details
rumbling.
wrong, because
I've got the rumblies. The rumblies for earthly destruction. Does it burn it all down? Fuck it, who cares?
I love that. Go on the Attack on Titan wiki and just search the rumbling. It's the rumbling song, the rumbling chapter, the rumbling episode.
There's a lot of rumbling happening.
There's a lot
Some
of
rumblies.
rumbling.
It is terrifying as well, because as I said, I've seen the clip of the rumbling, so I was like, what the fuck is it? I didn't realise how late in the thing when I saw the clip is, but now I'm like, I think I might have watched the episode while I was drunk, but then I forgot the previous lead up to it.
Right.
I've maybe not had the best Attack on Titan watching experience, but at some point I'll get around to just watching the final 3 episodes again to familiarise myself with how it properly ends.
Mm-hmm. And maybe then we can cover Eren and just discuss that final part of the story.
The single scariest part of the entire thing is, it's something Attack on Titan was good at until they start over-explaining stuff of. As you see the montages of the shit happening, you see people living in the Arctic who've got no fucking clue what a Titan is. It's what's those guys? What do those guys think?
What do those guys think when the rumbling happens, Carl?
Yeah.
Because the rumbling was a cataclysmic event involving Karl Fritz's wall titans marching across the earth, destroying all life upon it. For over a century, it was a key deterrence factor for the subjects of Ymir on Paradise Island until the year 854, when Eren Yeager unhardened the walls and freed the wall titans and began the rumbling.
And essentially, it's just a 400-mile long line of colossal titans who walk in a straight line and stomp on everything.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying, right? It's just, you can't stop it. It's like you can watch the apocalypse walk towards you, and the bit where it's like the Malians, like, we're in the water, we've got all these like these ships. The fuck are they gonna do? And they start swimming.
They just keep going. Oh, we're fucked. At some point, I'm sure we'll get more into details with like the specifics of, the plot or characters and stuff. I just wanted to talk more of a bit of an overview of Attack on Titan today and just say that, other than Mappa ruining the production and release schedule, like, I still think it's a very, very good anime. Some of the best episodes are some of the best episodes of anime I've watched. Also, it gets very convoluted and weird, and I do like some of the characters, and I really don't like some of the other characters, but you're not meant to like everyone, and that's the point. I would definitely recommend it.
I'd recommend people watch it.
Mm-hmm. And if people get mad...
I say that knowing, like, my convoluted ass. Because I don't know exactly how much I've... Because as I said, on my Crunchyroll, it tells me I've got the final episode left to watch, but I know for a fact I did watch it, but I think I might have, like, reset it. As I said, I might have watched it when I was like at a pizza or something after a stream when I was a bit drunk, and watched it and then forgot the details. So I remember the fight scene, but I don't remember the exact details of what he said.
There's a lot that gets said, Carl, so you probably want to watch that with them all.
I was probably distracted by the rumblers.
Well, the rumbling had already happened, that's the thing, is there's so much...
Didn't want to see like Hanji explode. I'm like, well, fuck this.
There's like hours of anime left when the rumbling has happened. That's the thing.
The thing is, who goes down like the biggest boss then? Who goes down like the absolute fucking the warrior? The one that got me his arm in when he's fighting the colossal titan, he's just on fire, and it's like, dude, just let go.
I mean,
what are you doing?
He goes out like a fucking hero, and obviously...
He goes like a warrior, doesn't he? Yeah.
Obviously, he becomes the colossal titan and doesn't die at that moment, but he does die, but then he gets revived, but... Absolute hero to just be like, I'm going to keep holding on. It's like, Armin, there's nothing left of you, and you just watch him just melt away and burn up. Like, oh. Eren's been on board being the monster since he was a kid and told himself that he was going to be a monster. Whereas everyone else, you see them have to actually deal with that shit in real time. And
it's a classic trope, right? Yeah, monster is metaphor.
Exactly, and not only that, they have to realise that, well, we've been doing all of this for the sake of Eren and thinking that we were in the right the entire time, and now we've realised at the very last second, oh shit, our best mate's the dickhead. He's the bad guy.
He's taking it too far.
Yeah.
It's like, I think, like Devil May Cry, like the shitty reboot, where Virgil for some reason, throughout the entire game, Dante never stops to ask Virgil what his plan is. And you get right to the end of the game, where it's like, finally, we've defeated the king of all of evil. And Virgil's like, yes, now we can take his place. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, at no point did anyone ask Eren, so what's the plan here? We're going to make them stop genociding us? Like, no, we're going to genocide them.
Yeah, with that Devil May Cry example, we know it's Virgil, so we know at some point, whether it be the end of the game or the sequel, that Virgil's going to take a turn. But the fact that it's just last second out of nowhere, and then he's the final boss fight...
He's literally like, he's talking to Dante and just off the cuff says, and now we'll take his place. And Dante's like, wait, what?
Hang on.
So, did you not talk about this? I imagine it's the same thing with Eren, right? Where he's there like, I'm going to kill them all. And it's like, well, surely you mean the soldiers, right? And no one bothered to clarify what he meant by kill them all. They just assume, what do you mean? Well, maybe the government. He's like, no, I'm going to kill them all. Oh, so you mean like all the soldiers in the army and all the people who, all the people who believe and ascribe to that ideology? No, I'm going to kill them all. And they don't realise that he just keeps saying it.
And it's like, at some point you think, what equates to all? And he's like, oh, everyone on the planet.
Can we just clarify what all means? And they've got the map on the thing. Of he goes up to the map and tears the map off the board. I'm going to kill them all. So, okay.
That's one thing you've got to respect, that Eren, from the moment his mother gets eaten in the first episode, he's a man of his word. He's I'm gonna kill them all.
We just didn't know that. We thought he meant all the Titans. Then we thought we meant all the people who set the Titans on them. Then we thought he meant all the people who were fighting for the rival. No, he meant all of them.
I'm sure we will talk more about Attack on Titan in another day, but for now, if you would like to see us cover more subjects, then you can go to our Discord and give us some suggestions of things to talk about, and you can also...
Or yell at us. Yell at us for not understanding Attack on Titan.
Don't tell them to yell at us, Carl. Don't tell them to yell at us.
Interaction.
Tell them to go and support us on Patreon and help us make more cool content.
Okay, you could do that. Then yell at us.
You know what? If you pay for supporting us on Patreon, yeah, you can yell at us all you want. Sure.
So be aware we are utilising this technique known as hyperbole.
Should we just make that tier on the Patreon? It's you can shout at us.
I've always said it. It's I don't mind if someone wants to yell at me. He's got to pay me first. My time's worth more than listening to someone just yell at me because I said something they didn't like about a TV show.
So, Carl, tell people your most inflammatory opinion about Attack on Titan before we go quick.
I think the fact that I've not watched it properly... The thing that's going to annoy most people is that I watch subs and dubs simultaneously.
It more confuses me than annoys me, but yes, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people annoyed about that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please try not to shout at us too much.
I'll have to double check now for the edit of how I'll watch it, and we can clarify. Carl did watch the final episode again. I just don't remember how far I got in. I just stopped giving a shit because I thought about, do I really care? I actually don't.
And that says it all, really.
I've got enough out of it.
You're a fool, Carl. You're a fool.